Enforcement Board for March 2024. Call to order and
It's the
now roll.
25th.
25th, you're correct. Roll call, please.
Bill Dixon,
Here.
John Stroud,
Here.
Lisa Onam,
Here.
Tim Skinner,
Here.
Alan Taylor.
Here. Under old business. Did you all receive the minutes of our previous meeting? And if so, do you recommend that we approve them as submitted?
I will make a motion to approve the
Lisa makes-
February 26 minutes.
Lisa makes the motion.
Second.
Bill seconds. Any question? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous. I make a note to that approval, though, that Chris did resign as our attorney, so his name, if it appears on those minutes, will be changed. Ashley's fresh face.
Would his name still be on it though?
Yeah, he'll be on the.
For the last
The
one,
last
but yeah,
one.
but I'm
Yeah,
just,
gotcha.
I'm just making that
Gotcha.
observation.
I made a note.
Very good. All right. Under new business, we have an appeal, 0324. Steve, you want to,
It's actually, I'm doing this one.
oh, okay, well, sorry about that.
No, it's all right. We are here today on Appeal 0324. It was submitted by Jeffrey Horn and Nancy Nelson Horn for the property located at 2416 Jamestown Drive. And Dobby actually is the one who will be testifying on this, but I did want to give you all some background. This is the fourth offense of the same offense. The other ones had got appealed. We actually wrote Nancy a letter, and I think it's in your packet, with this latest citation, asking that maybe she might want to appeal it because we're not getting anywhere on it. And as you all know, the goal of the city is not to collect fines. The goal of the city is to help people get things repaired and put back into livable order here. So I did want to let you all know that background, that we kind of invited this appeal because we thought maybe it would be good for you all to hear exactly what's going on. So I'll call Nancy, or I'm sorry,
Dobby.
I'll call Dobby up. You all swear in, and she can talk to you about the citation.
Dobby, bring us up to speed.
You would swear in?
Yes. Do you swear to testify to the truth as you know it, to the best of your ability, and you can give us your name and address, please?
Dobby Padilla, 610 South Main Street, and I do.
Dobby, do you want to tell them when you first found out about the issue that we're here about and what that issue is?
Okay. It started back in January the 30th of 2023 is when it started being written up. That's when I started getting complaints.
Okay.
And so can you tell us what we're here tonight? I know you have other complaints, but what we're here tonight on?
We're here because there is roof damage and that it has been open to the weather for quite a while. And there appears not to be anything done on it.
So do you know when this occurred, when this happened, when this damage occurred?
I was told that the utilities was turned off due to the damage on October the 18th, 2022.
And was this storm damage?
I was told a tree fell. I don't know if the storm caused the tree to fall or if the tree just fell.
And at that time, do you have any knowledge as to whether the pole had pulled you left finger?
But they, at the beginning, they just turned the utilities off. In January of 2023, they cut the power from the line.
And will they put the power back on?
Not until it's fixed.
So this property has been without power since January 20,
October of 2022.
October. When did you first issue the first citation?
January 30th, 2023.
And was that appealed?
No. But now, she did call me on that one.
Mm-hmm.
And I gave her, we didn't do the final on it till May of 2023.
Okay. Were you trying to give her more time to correct it?
Yes, she said she was having problems with her insurance.
So the final on that was May of 2023. Have you cited her since then?
Yes.
All right. And when was that?
I cited it on August the 9th, 2023, and then again on September the 29th, 2023, and then the last one was January the 9th of 2024.
So there's been 4 citations,
Yes,
and 3 were not appealed, correct?
correct.
So we're here on the 4th one,
Yes,
and did you write a letter to her, Ms. Corn, asking that she come here tonight?
I did.
And what was the purpose of that letter?
Well, we felt like that it would be in her best interest if she came and explained why this is being done, and if there was anything that, we needed to know.
That's all the questions I have from this.
Question from the board.
Is the residence occupied?
No,
Oh, can
There's a
you
lot of
get rates on
vehicles
this?
there.
I have numerous complaints.
And they're all from the neighbors?
Yes. And
So
the-
no one's living there? There's an awful lot of vehicles.
You know how long it's been vacant?
I'm going to assume that they moved out in October when the utilities was turned off, but that would be an assumption on my part.
And does it appear from what you've seen that there is probably water or other things hitting into the building?
Yes, in the beginning that she had a blue tarp on it. The blue tarp disappeared months back, several months back, and it's been open to the elements all winter.
That's all we have.
Thank you, Toby. Do we have someone here to speak? Nancy,
Yes, I'm here.
would you please come forward? Would you pledge to give us nothing but the
I'm not
facts
tall
as you...
enough to
I know, nothing but the facts as you know them. I know you're behind that screen.
For you, I'm sorry.
And also at that, give us your, because this is recorded, please give us your name and address, please.
Here, is that better?
I don't care if they see me or I don't care if I see them, it's
You
okay.
swear to testify to the best of your knowledge, correct?
I do.
And your name and address.
It's Nancy Nelson Horn. My location here in town is 2416 Jamestown Drive, but
Okay.
we do not live there currently.
Okay. What's your side of the story?
Well, I have a prepared statement that I've written that I would
Okay.
like to read,
Sure.
but I do want to make a couple of statements after what, Bobby? Is that
Yes.
right? I don't want to call her incorrectly. When the tree fell, we'd had like 3 or 4 inches of rain in a matter of like 24 hours or less. And the winds were blowing more than they are like today. My husband was in the hospital at Gateway. And I came home, not knowing, but I knew something was wrong when I pulled in the driveway because my outside lights did not come on.
You were living there at the time, correct?
At the time, I was.
Okay.
This was prior to us.
Okay.
I knew something was wrong because, like I said, my motion lights didn't come on. Nor were my porch lights or my outside garage lights on, which I left on when I would leave so I would have lighting when I came home. I pulled in the driveway and one of the neighbors came over and says to me, I want to tell you before you go in your backyard what has happened. And he started telling me, and we walked around the back, and oh my word, it looked like a jungle in my backyard. This tree had split in half, and half of it was laying on my house.
And this is October of 22, correct?
No, this was actually September, so the dates are wrong.
Okay.
He told me, the neighbor did, that when it happened, he said it sounded like an earthquake, or it sounded like somebody had driven straight through my house. He said the noise was that great. And he said everything in his house shook. And I'm sure it did, because everything in my house that was on a wall, in a cabinet, or whatever, it was laying all over the floor. So I'm sure it did. And I was just flabbergasted. You know, here's this humongous tree, which the tree guy told me was probably 150 feet tall, laying on top of my house. He did tell me, however, if it had not failed like it did, it would have gone through my dining room and out my living room windows. Now, my son had a truck that he had been working on in the backyard, which he had recently passed away prior to this. And it hit that truck and kind of sustained part of the blow. But I should have brought pictures. Well, I had my iPad. I could bring them up. It looked like a jungle in my yard. You couldn't even walk in my backyard without having to go under limbs, over limbs, around limbs. It was just, I've never seen that, okay? And the power actually was not turned off. It ripped it out of the pole. When the tree fell, it ripped the electric off the pole, the wires. And also out of the weatherhead on my house. And instead of the weatherhead looking like this, it actually looked like this.
We've
Well-
got photographs.
Pardon me?
We have photographs
You
here
see-
on the monitor.
So you see the weatherhead?
Yep.
And Power and Light, I called them. They came up that evening and got up on my house. They climbed up these limbs and got up on my house to see about the weatherhead, because you couldn't see it for the limbs. And the electric wires are still laying in my yard. It fell on my heat and air unit, which is smashed. It fell on our hot tub, which is smashed. We have a 3-story deck. It's laying a pile of wood at the bottom, most of it, with furniture under it. I mean, it was surreal. I mean, really. And I said my husband was laying in the gateway, and here I am standing here looking at all this devastation. And I thought, it can't be happening. You know, it really can't be. But it did. And so I called my insurance agent the next day, and he gave me...
So that would have been in September.
Yes.
You called in,
Yes.
September 2022.
He gave me a 24-hour hotline number, which I called. So, from that point, I'm going to read you what I wrote today while I had some thoughts in my head clear. So in case I forgot anything tonight, okay? So, this is what I'm going to tell you. I contacted my insurance company within 24 hours after the storm and the tree falling on our house, which was on a weekend, and I was told that somebody should contact me within 3 or 4 days. Someone from the claims division office did call me within about a week or two. I was told at that time an adjuster would contact me within another week or so. Approximately, this was what he told me. Someone did finally call me who said he was an adjuster, and he scheduled a date and a time that he would be able to come to my house. He told me he was working in Owensboro on some other claims from the storm, and he would be able to come to Henderson. So he told me also how lucky I was, and I reiterate that he was going to come and make the trip because, and I don't know where he came from, he didn't tell me, because of all the storm damage, that I was lucky he was coming to my house. Anyway, the date that he told me, and he set the date and he set the time. I did not. I went over there and I waited 2.5 hours. I got there a half hour early. He gave me a 2-hour time frame when he told me he would be there. He was supposed to have been there by 2 o'clock that day, and I arrived at 11:30. Anyway, he called me at 5 minutes till 2. And I said, I assume you're almost here if you were in Owensboro this morning. He says, oh, no, I'm almost to Louisville. I'm not coming. I said, so in other words, I've sat here for 2.5 hours, and you just didn't bother to show up or call me. He said, well, I'll be in Evansville next week, 3 different dates for other claims I'm looking at, and I can come on one of those or 2 of those dates. I said, fine. I said, you tell me when you'll come. I'll be there. I said, remember, I'm not living there because I have no electricity, no water, no heat, no air. I can't even go to the bathroom in my own house. So when I make a trip, I need for you to be in that 2-hour time frame if I'm coming on a certain time at your convenience, which he said he would. Anyway, he didn't show up again. Well, I went through this 4 times with this adjuster. I finally called the main office, which is in Connecticut, and talked to a guy that's supposed to be a claims supervisor. And I told him that if he didn't have anybody any better than that to send, he was in sad shape. I said, he said, so are you asking for a new adjuster? I said, I'm just asking for somebody that shows up. He said, well, I'll get you a new adjuster. I said, okay. So the second adjuster didn't show up. And mind you, I'm going in good faith, thinking they're coming. And they're not coming. So I went through this with him again 3 or 4 times.
So how long has this process, since you initially made the claim on the 20th, in September, how long has this been going on at this point?
Well, let me stop you there and tell you that I had a 3rd adjuster come.
Okay.
Okay. That didn't show up.
Okay.
Well, in the meantime, the insurance company tried to put the blame back on us. He said, well, you're not there when they come. I said, oh, yes, I'm there, but they're not coming. And I said, regardless of whether I'm actually there or not, can he not make an assessment without somebody being there? And I said, can he not walk around the property without me there? I didn't figure I needed to hold his hand. I thought if he was an adjuster, he knew what he was doing. He said, yes, he can, as long as you're giving us permission. I said, I'm giving you permission to do whatever you need to do. But anyway, in the meantime, my husband ended up in the hospital again. And this time he almost died. He was really sick. And he got sicker while he was there. Then I got COVID twice and ended up in the hospital. Thought I was going to die. But I finally got a man, the 4th adjuster, mind you, and he lived somewhere close to Louisville, but on the Indiana side. He didn't tell me his exact address, but he told me before you get to Louisville. And okay, so I tried to call him to make an appointment. He tried to call me. We played phone tag before I finally got a hold of him because this, and I'm going to be really nice when I say this jerk at the home office in Connecticut had given them an incorrect phone number for me. He was calling somebody in Georgetown, Kentucky and leaving messages, and gave me an incorrect phone number for this guy. So we were playing phone tag back and forth, but we didn't know it at that point. Well, finally, he was at my house. It was on the 18th of August, and I know the day because that would have been my son's birthday, the one that passed away. So I know what day.
So this
it
is August the 18th
of last year.
of 23.
Yes, of last year.
So it's been almost a year before an adjuster showed up on the property.
Yes. Well, thank goodness the guy that's been mowing our yard was there that day. He called me. He said, I don't know who the man is, but there's some man walking all over your roof and all around your house. I said, tell him we'll be there. Don't go anywhere. And when we arrived, he wasn't there, but he did come back. He said he had gone somewhere down the strip to get something to eat or drink or use the restroom or something, but he did come back. And at that point, that's where we exchanged. I said, well, this is the number I've been calling. He said, that's not my number. I said, that's the one they gave me. He said, well, I've been calling this number. I said, that's not my number. So I don't know where the mix-up was, but anyway. So anyway, he finally did come to my house August 18th.
So
Well-
we issued the first citation on August the 9th of 23, but that was even before any insurance adjuster showed up
Yes.
from your insurance
Yes.
company.
The first
the 18th.
adjuster that actually came was August the 18th.
Okay, and then less than a month later, we issued another citation on the 29th of September.
I don't know, my mail is going.
Well,
here
I'm
and
writing all
yonder.
these dates down,
Okay.
so, okay, go ahead, please.
I'm gonna move that paper because it's sliding all over the place. I'll get the chair. Anyway, a long time went by and I still didn't hear anything. The guy that took the tree off our house has still not been paid. As a matter of fact, he has now filed a lawsuit against us because he's not gotten his money. They've not paid us any money, not even living expense money. The living expense money is out of pocket for us. And anyway, I finally, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I don't know the date, I didn't write that down, called the guy in Connecticut. I said, you know, it's been 5 months almost since he was there. What's the deal? He says, oh no, it wasn't. It was such and such date. I said, oh no, it was too, because I said, my son that passed away, that was his birthday. So I may not know other dates, but I know that day. Well, he told me he'd check on it, okay? He told me he hadn't gotten anything from the adjuster. When the adjuster stood in my yard and told my husband and I, well, me and my husband wasn't there that day, told me, he said, I'll have my report to the home office within 10 days to 2 weeks. And I don't know if he did or not. I don't know. I didn't get a copy of it. He didn't say I could. So I didn't get anything. But anyway, less than a month ago, I called the same guy at the, I don't know if you want to call it the home office or regional, whatever, it's not local. He says, well, apparently your claim got misplaced on my desk and overlooked, and it fell through the cracks, and I missed it. I said, you know what? That's not a reason. That's an excuse, and a pretty poor one. I said, I've never missed paying my premiums. I've never had a claim. And this is the kind of service I get. You know, I mean, when I worked for the city, if I'd told somebody I overlooked their payment for 5 months, you'd think I'd still had a job? Or if somebody had protested something, do you think I'd have been there almost 47 years? I don't think so. I think they would have gotten rid of me a long time before that. But that was the reason he gave me. I even made the statement to him. I said, well, you know what? I said, I know where Connecticut is. I know how to get there. I just may come pay you a face-to-face visit. Well, he didn't like that at all. He said, well, we'll get this resolved. I said, you know what? I said, the tree guy is threatening to sue us. I said, the city is threatening me. I said, we're not playing a game here. The tree guy called me today because he still hadn't been paid either.
Is there any documentation from the insuring company or you writing a letter or anything, any documentation at all of any of this?
No, because most of it was over the phone. Now, my local agent did send him a couple of emails, but, you know.
Have you worked with your local agent on these situations?
Matter of fact, he contacted him a week or two ago. And
Do you have copies of the email or any?
no, because
conversation?
they didn't send me
Okay.
emails. But the guy in Connecticut, when my agent sent him one email about why was it taking so long, he tried to say he didn't get the email, that my agent was just lying to me. And I said, I know better than that. I said, I was standing in his office when he sent that email to you. Well, then he didn't know what to say. See, he couldn't say that he didn't get, he could say he didn't get it, but he sent it to me.
Well, for the sake of time, let's cut to the end of the story. Have they given you any date when payment will be issued or any
Well,
kind of?
They sent me a letter. Trying to think when it was. I didn't bring the letter. I looked for it and I didn't bring it. That said they would pay X number of dollars, which is a drop in the bucket to what I've had 2 or 3 estimates on the house. And they're wanting to pay me less than 1/10 of what the people want to fix it. And out of that, I'm supposed to pay the tree guy, which they told me he charged me too much to take the tree off my house. I thought, how are you going to argue with somebody that's taking a tree off your house? Say, well, now wait a minute, can we argue about this and work a deal? I mean, you can't do that. But anyway, they sent me a letter and said they would pay X number of dollars. Enclosed, please find a check. There was no check, just the letter. And that was when my agent sent him a copy of the letter I got, along with telling him no payment was included in that. And I did tell him, one thing he did tell me too, I didn't write this down and I've not read everything that I wrote down, but anyway, I did tell him, because he was kind of cocky and arrogant, he made the statement to me that he thought I was just trying to get a new roof on my house. I said, let me tell you something. I said, that roof on my house is approximately 5 years old. The guttering is approximately 2 years old. My husband and I paid for that out of pocket. There was no insurance claim filed. There was no insurance on that. We paid for that. And I said, yeah, I need a new roof, but I need everything else fixed that goes under that roof. He didn't know what to say to that either.
Here's where we are.
Oh, and I will say, when she said, I'm sorry, Alan, when she talked about the tarp, I've had that house re-tarped 4 times, and the adjusters had told me, and I don't know this is what they told me, they're not paid to remove the tarp nor put it back on. So I have to get somebody who either put that tarp on for me or somebody else to take it off each time that they're going to come. What? At this rate,
Okay, but here's our situation. This is the Code Enforcement Board. The city establishes these codes to protect the value of your neighbor's property. Obviously, the neighbors are concerned about the situation. We're not here to punish anybody, but the law's the law. And unfortunately, whoever your carrier is has not done you justice.
amen.
But we can't go there. If you drive down 2nd Street 60 miles an hour and you get a speeding ticket, the speed limit's 35, and you get a ticket because you exceeded the law. We've got a situation here where the incident occurred back in '22, in September 22, and here we are, almost April of 24, and the neighbors have to look at this mess, and they're upset with us, the city, because the codes have not been enforced. That's our position at this point. I'm not sure I know what the resolution for this is.
Well, if you drove past my house, you cannot see any of this from the front, okay? None of it whatsoever. There's an 8-foot privacy fence down 3 sides, so you can't see any of that. If you drove behind my house, you can't see it. The only way you can see this is if you make the turn on Barker, and you can see that.
But your property's been vacant for 2 years, as
Well, a year and a
I
half.
understand
Yeah.
the timeframe here. The damage is pretty obvious from the photos we have. You don't have, in your appeal, you really don't have much from your insurance company to get this thing resolved, do you?
No. Like I said, I have another man coming this week. Oh, and I've talked to an electrician 2 or 3 times, different ones. And I don't know if any of y'all tried to get an electrician lately, but they're like getting a plumber. You can't find one. I mean, one I talked to one time, so I can put you on the list, but it'd be 6 months. Of course, at that time, I thought, I won't need you in 6 months. Well, I should have took him up on that offer, and he, but, it's, I'm not doing it to be mean and spiteful to anybody.
I agree.
And I have an idea, because I think I know who one person is that probably, because they haven't lived there very long, but I wouldn't dare ask. And,
We're not gonna go there.
well, anyway, but I'm not,
Oh, okay, let me ask you a question.
I'm not playing games with these people, and they think I am.
Understanding that the proceeds from your insurance policy are not gonna cover the extent of all of the things that need to be fixed. Do you have the means? And if so, when do you think you could make the repairs that the code has cited?
No, because like I said, we're living out of pocket where we're staying. And I'm still paying other bills. Because they haven't given us any money. And I also was told that they would pay our living expenses while we were out of the house, and they haven't done that. And like I told the tree guy this morning, if I had the money to write you a check and pay you, I would. But I said if I wasn't paying for some place to stay, that,
So, Ms. Horn, are you appealing what they are, where are you at in the process with the insurance company right now?
I wish I knew.
Are you talking to your the local, is the adjuster local?
No, he's the one
I
who
mean,
lives
is your agent
agent-
local?
Yes, I
local,
just
surely.
talked to him on Friday.
Well, I'd be there every day, but he acts like he doesn't know any more than you do.
Well, I talked to him on Friday. But I mean,
Chair,
Yes, Don?
we are very sympathetic, as you all know. We're always sympathetic with the people who come because, our goal, and we were the ones who actually suggested that Nancy come in and talk. Because all we were doing is filing liens against this property, but we weren't getting any closer to a resolution. So we were the ones who said this might be good if we have this conversation. I think that, the city just wants a plan. And I wonder if we could have, John's got.
I just have a few questions.
Okay.
Nancy, who is your local agent?
I don't know that I want to tell you that, but he's, unless I'm required to.
You are.
He's been doing insurance for over 30 years.
I'm wondering if your local agent could come and talk to this board next month.
I would love to hear.
I would like,
Hey,
Yes.
love your
we
agent.
could
Yeah.
table this, as we have with other appeals, because, like I said, the city's not interested in the fine. The city is interested in getting a resolution to this, that we can move on. One of the things that we're most concerned with is the fact that this property's been vacant for almost 2 years, or a year and a half. And we know what happened to the vacant property. It hasn't had electrical service to it. It's been open to the elements. And so these are issues that make this house, you know, other issues are going to come if we do not get some
Resolution.
resolution to this. And that's why we were hoping, and we're very grateful that Ms. Horn was willing to come today so that we could have this conversation. But it might be good to hear from the agent as to where we are on this.
I would recommend that we hear from the agent and even maybe a representative from the company, and that you probably need to secure legal counsel
But
for
that's-
both of them. I mean, it sounds like you're at that point now, Nancy.
This
I
board
mean,
has the ability to subpoena witnesses to this hearing,
but we have to know their name.
yes.
Well, I don't think the guy in Connecticut's gonna come, trust me.
Well, if
But
we
your
subpoena
local
him,
agent.
he will.
And getting it served, that's the hardest thing.
Yeah,
We have to
getting
have
it
Briscoe
served.
drive all the way up there.
Now-
But we might be able to have him via Zoom.
You know, the claims adjuster that actually showed up, like I said, he lives somewhere close to Louisville. He was very nice, and when I told him how they had,
Problem with claims adjusters, they're normally contract agreement people, and they're not even employees of the insurance entity itself. Here's what I'm gonna propose. Let's see if we can get to,
well, I'm gonna interrupt you just a minute. I did, when the adjuster was there that day, and when I told him how they had been, I don't-
Treating you.
Huh?
Treating you.
well, yeah, I wanted to say jicky jacking, but that don't sound right. But anyway, how they had been pushing the blame off on everybody else. It wasn't their fault. Nothing was ever their fault, you know. And that adjuster that was very nice, he said, I just cannot believe this. He said, I can't believe that they kept giving you the runaround. I said, well, they have been.
I think that's their job.
Well, I'm sure it is, but like I said, should I not pay my premiums, then they would definitely cancel my insurance on the dot. But we have never had a claim on anything with them.
Well, I would entertain a motion from the board to table this appeal and to cease further citations until we come up with a final decision on this. I would entertain that motion.
Can we table it for 1 month and come
Yeah,
back
sure,
here?
sure.
Can you tell me what that date would be?
22nd.
I think we need a lot more information.
Because my husband has lots of doctor's appointments.
Well, we really would like to hear
Lots.
from your agent.
Yeah.
He's the one that gets your check for the premiums and makes money on your premiums. And he's the one representing
That company.
the company legally. So,
The city would request that game so that we can subpoena the adjuster for the next meeting. That way we can verify and maybe work through him for a plan.
yeah, because we have no documentation really. to
Do
work
you
with.
subpoena,
Adjuster, I meant the.
do you subpoena the
Agent, sorry, agent. That's right.
agent, or do we request that you do that?
You can do either way. We can request.
Can we
You
put
all
that in the
tell me
motion?
to subpoena him, I will
Absolutely.
subpoena her or him. I don't know who the agent is. So.
Yeah,
But we'll
them.
need to get that information. If we don't have the information,
Somebody make a motion.
So are we requesting he comes, or are we gonna give him a subpoena, or are we gonna request first?
I would rather this board request the city to subpoena this person,
The agent.
the agent, yes.
I can contact the agent and tell him what y'all want, if y'all want me to do.
But at the same
Well,
time.
No.
I think the city needs to send them a letter, a summons.
Been Jack going around
Yeah.
for 2 years, I don't.
Yeah.
But at the same time, let's include in this motion that we table further action and that we cease continued citations until the resolution.
well, until April.
Till April.
1 second.
And subpoena the agent.
Yes.
That said, I so move.
A second.
Any question? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Thank you, Nancy.
Okay.
Appreciate your testimony.
Thank you.
Oh, you need that.
I
Is there
will
any
ask,
way to get that portion of the roof that's, I know you gotta take the tarp off and put it on, but is there any way to get it dried in? I mean, to get a
Sealed?
tarp on it or something, because
well, I have somebody else that's
the
coming
more
to get.
weather you get
give
into
me
it,
a-
it's just gonna mold and,
I have somebody else coming this week to look at it, to give me another estimate on repairs, and I have asked that they also tarp it again. And put it down, I don't know, I guess you put it with nails, I don't know.
I would also suggest that when you have these people coming over looking at it, have them give you a written proposal and have your written proposal for tree removal, for fixing the house, for fixing the air conditioner, for fixing the electrical. Because now, after it's been off 2 years, it's got to be inspected and then the whole electrical system brought up to code. So
I was told that.
I would get all those estimates and have that for my agent so he can relay all that up. Because most companies do. They have a factor that they use, and we're in Kentucky, we're not that high of a factor, so they knock it down quite a bit, so.
Well, someone told me,
Mold.
and he does construction, but someone told me that if I didn't get any satisfaction, that there is a Kentucky insurance board that I can appeal to that is over insurance companies. Now, I don't know anything about it, but I was told that.
Thank you.
Can I leave now?
You can leave now.
Thank you, Nancy. Nancy, did you want this? You want the backup page?
All right. Steve, I think we're ready for a enforcement report.
Let's let them get out a little bit if they're going out in the hallway.
Okay.
Maybe they're not going out in the hallway.
I don't think so.
I'm sorry, Steve. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You gotta excuse John, his hair got messed up with the wind.
I think all our hair got messed up.
No, mine didn't.
A little bit there.
His all blew out.
All right.
tough quarter, man.
So citations withdrawn this month are 4, and uncontested citations are 8. You take your lead. And that is pretty much it for new business.
I will tell you that today we got judgment on 5 more of our mass foreclosures, so we should be receiving notice from the master commissioner for this, for a sales state. And the 4 that went, we were covering all of our liens on all but 1.
Positive cash flow.
Yeah,
All right.
one didn't quite get there, but all of them sold, so.
But we got something out of it.
So Steve, you get paid this month.
I also want to say Hart's Alley, the house that caught on fire that was condemned, it is being removed.
Okay,
So
great.
they were half done today. Hopefully they're all the way done.
Any other news or new business that we need to take on? If not, this meeting stands adjourned.
Welcome to the board.